finish off Vampire Month this year with a little bit of Canadian fiction.
Which, in the tradition of almost all cab lit, is a little bizarre.
It's the premise of this book that got us to pick it up. It's as if the universe asked us, hey, do you want some more German Nazi vampires? And we said, of course.
Becoming Darkness is really just the strain light. What would happen if the Master had enacted his plans for world domination during World War II? And what would happen if the main character wasn't a punchable, balding alcoholic?
Vampirism spread from the Nazi death camps, and as the disease became airborne, it took over the world. Europe was the first hit, but eventually the entire world fell to the plague.
Only a very small percentage of the population is saved from the vampirism plague. These people, called immunes, fought back against the vampires, but eventually they were pushed back to a small island in the Caribbean called Haven.
Then a treaty was signed between the immunes and Hitler, and they were left mostly alone to govern themselves and trade with the rest of the world.
Main character Sophie Harkness has lived her entire life on the island of Haven, but she finds her life slowly falling apart after her best friend is murdered.
This sets off a chain of events that reveals the dark secrets of everyone from her father to her grandmother to her vampire boyfriend Val.
Oh, that's right. We didn't mention that she managed to find like the one vampire of 5 on the entire island and date him.
That's how you know she's the main character. She's the one immune dating a vampire.
Which brings us to the first oddity of Becoming Darkness. It's not a book about Sophie and Val getting together. At the start of the book, they've been dating for a couple of years, and despite a couple of hiccups here and there, they're very committed to each other.
But just because the main character is dating a vampire, that doesn't mean we get a really unique perspective on the world or much to distinguish Val from any other Joe Schmo wandering the streets after sundown.
Val is a fairly blah character, there for Sophie to pine over and give her a connection to the outside world. He doesn't offer much by the way of conversation or flashback or even provide much of an emotional connection.
When her best friend dies, he doesn't even say, I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, he's that kind of character.
He's also inspired by The Graduate. Not the 1967 version with Dustin Hoffman, but the shitty rom-com spin-off version when Jennifer Aniston still had a career to speak of. A 2005 movie, rumor has it, where one man manages to sleep with the mother, daughter, and granddaughter.
So yeah, family dinners must be a riot. But it's a relationship that probably hasn't been seen in a lot of teen fiction before.
'Cause it's creepy?
Yeah.
Another reference that Becoming Darkness makes comes from an alternate history book in the novel that everybody seems to have read, No Haven for Darkness. This book depicts an alternate history that is exactly like our world, where vampirism never existed and Hitler lost the war.
But also might just be a glimpse into an alternate reality. We're not quite sure.
But this is similar to something that Philip K. Dick did in The Man in the High Castle, where many characters had read The Grasshopper Lies Heavy, an alternative history book that depicts how Hitler may have failed to win the war.
Sophie goes on a journey that requires a lot of secrets to be revealed, and it's these secrets that will keep your interest in the story, because character-wise, there's not a whole lot there.
And the revelations aren't complete plot twists, you still see them coming, but you enjoy watching them get revealed. But there's one revelation that just had me rolling my eyes.
Without getting too spoilery, or saying which character we're referring to, the plot gets very biblical and Christ-like, very, from this womb a savior shall appear, and I just rolled my eyes.
That's the one thing I never felt was missing from teen fiction. The whole, what springs forth from your womb shall save the world nonsense.
For centuries, women have been valued solely for what they can pop out of their bodies. We had this one style where female characters weren't defined by their internal real estate, and it was great.
Let's not make this a thing. I want to see less of this than I have already seen.
Becoming Darkness is a quirky find, and if you ever wanted to know what a mashup of The Man in the High Castle and The Strain would be like, well then this book is for you. I never would have considered a combination of these two, but as a concept, it really does work.
If you're coming for characters or excessive world building, then you might be a little disappointed. Those are not this novel's forte.
There's enough twisty secrets to keep you interested in Becoming Darkness, and it breaks with the formula enough that you can enjoy your familiar vampire fiction without feeling like you've read this novel 100 times before.
This is going to be a trilogy, and the author is already working on the next book. If you're looking for a book that has vampire Nazis, then you might consider picking up Becoming Darkness.